Oh, no, no. Oh, no, we're not doing this. No. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Nope, nope. That's not a thing that we're doing. That is, no, I refuse. I refuse.
All right, let's bring in my panel. Streamer Hassan Piker, journalist Emily Austin, uncensored contributor Esther Kraku, and podcaster James Barr. Well, Emily, I mean, on one level, I guess it was quite funny, but on another level, I didn't like what she did to Alec Baldwin. I've got no truck for Alec Baldwin whatsoever. And I think with this case that he's got hanging over him, I hope that justice is served, because ultimately he did fire the gun that killed that poor woman and has been on some kind of weird PR tour ever since. But I don't like to see any public figure, whether it's Eric Adams, the mayor, on a plane, or Alec Baldwin getting a coffee, harangued and harassed in that manner. Now, I tried to conduct a serious interview. She obviously
What was that? Wow. That was something else.
Doing that, wanted to turn the whole thing into a foul-mouthed rant and joke and performative thing. Fine.
That's okay. We'll do New Vegas after this. I meant either or, as in the immediate now. We can only do one thing at once right now. But after this, we can do New Vegas, no problem.
That's entirely her right to do it. But what did you think of these harassings, not just by her, but by other people, of public figures?
You tried to conduct a serious interview with crackhead Barbie?
Well, no, I was asking her about a viral video of her harassing Alec Baldwin, which I do actually think is a serious thing. I do actually think public figures should not be harassed in that manner. I've had a bit of it myself, and I think it crosses a line. Right, and Alec Baldwin, you know, as far as I'm aware, has not said anything particularly sensational about the war at all. So why she is harassing him in the street in the way that she did, I think is worthy of examination. Wow. Now, as it turned out, she had no interest in having a serious conversation. OK, so we've cut it off. But I don't think I should be blamed for getting on someone who is literally at the centre of a quite big news story in America for harassing a famous star. Do you?
What? That was so strange. Maybe we should watch it to have context. Like, what was that? Crackhead Barney takes on Pierce. Like, what the hell is happening? What is this? Like,
Hassan?
No, it was for clout. She was doing it for clout. That's why she went on the show, also for clout, which you were correct on pointing out that using the ongoing ethnic cleansing campaign in Gaza and what's happening to the Palestinian people as a vehicle to create more social clout for yourself, social capital for yourself is pretty disingenuous, pretty messed up.
I have to jump in there, though, because
I'm gonna go grab a drink. I'm gonna go get a drink. I need a drink for this one. Don't worry, it's a non-alcoholic beverage. I need a drink. I'll be right back. I'm back.
No, what everybody's doing.
Isn't
that what this show is also doing? Because you're talking about create political clout,
hang on.
create noise,
I'll come back
to get clicks, to make money.
Listen, let's not all be disingenuous,
No,
right?
but the whole
We're all
conversation,
hang
and
on.
actually Crackhead Barney isn't that different to you.
Well, actually-
and Crackhead Barney said it herself. She said, we're no different. And I kind of agree with Crackhead Barney. I didn't think I'd say
If
it.
you think there's any correlation between what she just did
That
on the
someone
show...
screaming over someone and not letting them speak.
Right.
There's definitely a correlation.
Well, you think
there.
that I've treated you like she treated
No,
Ali
I'm
Baldwin?
just saying that I think that actually you aren't that different. You're trying to do the same thing.
I'll come
You're
back to
just
that.
doing it in a different way.
No, it's a preposterous suggestion. I do not do what she does, right? But Hassan, here's the point I would make to you. A lot of people think a lot of these protesters at universities in America are performative. The ones who are chanting their support for Hamas, the ones who are chanting about intifada and pretending it's not about a violent uprising. I mean, do you accept that a lot of that is not only performative, but public demonstration of support for terrorism?
Absolutely not. I don't think that. I mean, all protests are technically performative, obviously, but there's a very clear-cut goal for the group of students at Columbia and many other universities. I was in Melbourne not that long ago, and I attended a Palestinian protest there.
Apparently, it's gonna go a bit wild. This debate so far it's pretty calm. So far it's pretty, I don't know. Well, but I suppose it's gonna go a bit more wild at some point.
There, and the students there were also demanding the exact same thing, that they divest, their colleges divest from a lot of the companies that are aligned with the state of Israel, a lot of the companies that are directly involved in operations in the West Bank, a lot of the companies that are playing a role in the regular maintenance of the apartheid regime of Israel and helping Israel conduct an ethnic cleansing campaign. That is the ultimate goal. That is why they're trying to very clearly cause a little bit of a disruption and engage in...
I mean, so far, I don't know, so far so good, I guess. It's nothing out of the ordinary so far.
But are you comfortable? Okay, but are you comfortable,
the most American
Hassan,
thing you can do?
Are you comfortable with the
disobedience.
ones who are seen chanting support for Hamas or chanting about intifada?
Probably not.
I am perfectly comfortable with people chanting about the intifada. As far as the Hamas thing goes, any kind of protest is always going to have a litany of random people, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. You have to look at the actual tangible goals that the protest movement is stating they're interested in. And I think that those goals, and I think you will agree with me on this, Piers, I think those goals are pretty valid overall.
I mean, you could argue that if that's the case, then those fringe elements should be ousted out of the protest. It's like with the discussion about the farmer protests, when people point out, hey, you have transparents that say Putin should come in and fix the Polish government and clean up, help us, Putin. And people say, well, they're not really part of the wider farmer movement, etc. That's not really part of the wider farmer goals, just like Hassan said here. And I guess the response, just like in this case, would be here. Well, then why aren't those people sort of ousted out of the protest? Right? Wouldn't that be a legitimate thing to ask? Well, if that's the case, then why aren't they sort of weeded out within the protest itself?
I think that they want to, one, recenter the attention to the genocide that is ongoing in Gaza, and two, demand that their tuition dollars do not go to operations in Israel. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's a campus. There's going to be a sister campus that is being built in Tel Aviv right now for Columbia University. This means that Columbia University, which once housed the likes of the late, great Edward Said and many others, and that currently has many Palestinian students who pay tuition for projects such as this one, will not be able to go to that sister campus. I find that abhorrent, but it's everyday existence in Israel.
Let me bring in Emily. You've been listening to all this. Your response?
With all due respect, Hassan, why do you feel that Columbia, or any college for that matter, owes you to divest from Israel. Why do you think your opinion is correct? Because so far, I heard the classic buzzwords: apartheid, discriminatory, ethnic cleansing, and genocide, which is funny because it's all the exact opposite. So if I may ask you, what about Israel is apartheid?
The exact opposite. Like, it would be difficult to argue that there's no ethnic cleansing at least happening within, like, Gaza, right? I think that would be a hard sell. Like, that there's this sort of collective punishment pushing people out of their homes, out of where they live, south, and then where? They don't have anywhere to go. It's just, I'm not sure if this is a strong point to just go in and say the exact opposite is happening, no? I'm just not so sure. You know? It's a pretty...
You also just said this.
It just... I don't know. This lady's coming in pretty strong. Over 1 million people being displaced. Yeah, I don't know. It's like the exact opposite. What does that mean? The exact opposite of an ethnic cleansing? Are people being invited to move in? Like, what's... I don't know. This lady seems...
The students in Israel, the campus in Israel would not allow Palestinians to join. Are you confused, or do you know nothing about the country of Israel? Because let me remind you, Jews are not allowed in the West Bank and Gaza. However, Arabs have full Israeli citizenship, have the rights, are members of the Knesset, which is the equivalence of, you can think of Congress, and even prosecuted a former Prime Minister, Ehud Olmert, an Arab judge. So what apartheid exactly are you speaking about? What genocide? What ethnic cleansing? And secondly, how dare you say it's okay to talk about an intifada? Let me remind you, the intifada last time it happened in Israel consisted of thousands of people dying in bus bombings. So are you saying that you support terrorism and killing innocent people?
Just nodding along.
Well, intifada simply just means revolution, and I'm an American, and in 1776,
violent
we did
revolution.
one of those, and it was pretty fucking good. Yeah. What do you think? The American?
Okay,
do you think the American Revolution was
Hold on.
good? I'm an American, and in 1770. Well, intifada simply just means revolution, and I'm an American, and in 1770.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh no. Oh boy.
Violent
we did
revolution.
one of those, and it was pretty fucking good. Yeah. What do you think? The American?
Okay,
do you think the American Revolution was a tickle party? Of course not.
We also bombed Hiroshima.
Don't. Yeah, I know, and that was also
Oh, is Hassan going to say that that was also unquestionably good?
unjust and unimaginably cruel.
Oh, okay.
Of course, the Israel Defender
only
is also
when it
defending
fits- when it fits
nuking
your narrative- so
civilians
when it
and
fits
killing
your
them by the
narrative, it's
hundreds of thousands.
justified.
Now
So
listen.
when it-
Nuking. I might not be super tuned in to the Israel-Palestine conflict, but as far as I know, I'm pretty sure nobody has been nuked yet. I'm pretty sure no nuking has taken place quite yet in Gaza.
When it fits
Listen,
your
let's get back.
narrative, it's
Let's get
justified.
back.
But when it goes
Let's
against
refocus
it,
the
it's
conversation
unjust.
to the points that you made. Let's
what?
refocus the
No,
conversation to the points that you made.
Okay, look,
you said,
just to
what are you
remind
talking
everybody,
about?
I'm actually moderating this, but that's an interesting
I am actually the one moderator.
point that Emily just raised, Hassan. It does seem that you're very selective about the violence that you support.
True.
That when you support it, it's justified. When other people use things in a violent way that you don't support, it's unjustified. Seems like it's all skewed to what Hassan Piker thinks.
Uh-oh.
Well, not necessarily just what I think. I think that there are obvious markers.
What will get him to get mad and off the rails? A justified revolutionary act. I don't think that bombing buses is a justified revolutionary act, to be quite honest.
boundaries. I don't think violence against civilians is justified. I have talked about.
Well, you just said that about revolution and how based it was, and that Antifada was just a revolution, just means a revolution. And she gave an example of people being killed in bombings of cars. And you said that was great because it's just a revolution. And now you say that you're against killing civilians, which contradicts what you just said before. So
October 7 on this very same show, saying that it was a tragedy. It was atrocities that occurred on October 7 specifically. When you target civilians in any capacity,
but
I
you
think
just
that
said before that it's just a revolution when you target civilians, and that it's based because apparently the US did it in 1776.
is unacceptable. However, this does not mean that violence will not occur in many circumstances. Violence has occurred in every single revolutionary action. Many good.
That's not true. That is actually not true. That just betrays that Hassan does not have knowledge about all revolutions. Like Poland, the change of the regime in Poland in 1989 from a quote-unquote communist one to a system that is capitalist, that is often referred to as a bloodless revolution because not a single person was hurt, even though that was basically a revolution happening. So no, what he just said is definitely not true. I just gave you a single example of a bloodless revolution. So
good revolutionary actions. Obviously, America bombing
so that's just not true.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki with an atom bomb.
Nagasaki, not Nagasaki.
That was not a very
Was
good
what Hamas did on
moment
October the
for
7th
anybody. It was not a very good moment for human civilization at all.
Was what Hamas did on
But that's
October the
not the
7th?
point. I want-
Was what Hamas did on October the 7th an example of what you would call a justified revolution?
I don't look at every single act of violence. I look at
You've
the
literally
players.
just been
I look
reciting
at
a
the
whole load of
systems
them.
of oppression.
Wow. Do you condemn Hamas?
Why
When
are
we
you
are
avoiding,
analyzing it,
why are
and
you
do it too,
avoiding
Piers.
October the 7th?
You do it too.
No, I don't.
I'm not avoiding it. I've talked about it a
Okay.
million times
Well,
over.
let me ask you
I'd
one
like
more
to
time.
just
Hang
say-
on, hang
This is
on.
not what we're here to discuss.
Emily, hang
This
on.
is not what we're here to
Hassan,
discuss.
let me
She
just ask
said
you. Let me
very
just ask you
specifically,
directly
Israel's
one more
not an
time.
apartheid state.
Let me ask you one more time. Do you believe what happened on October the 7th was a justified act of revolution? Yes or
We'll see. Let's see what the answer will be.
no?
I mean, by his logic, you have to say yes.
I do not, and I do think that.
Oh.
Oh, wait, hold on. That's let me clarify. Let me clarify something very important here. Events that unfolded on October 7 were atrocities. That much is clear. Those atrocities could have been avoided if Israel was not an apartheid regime. Israel has been an apartheid
Okay, can
regime
you answer
for
how
75
Israel's an
years.
apartheid regime?
In the
Because
early,
you keep repeating
no,
that.
you can't
You keep
just
repeating
chime in.
that.
You can't just
Back
chime in.
it
You
with
ask me a question.
evidence.
You want it?
Why
You ask
is
me a question.
Israel an
I'm going to give
apartheid
you an
regime?
answer.
Jesus. It's not very productive so far.
Because you're repeating
Israel
these
has been an
lies.
apartheid
Go
regime
ahead,
since
please.
its inception. Until
How so?
1967, Israel was an apartheid regime for the Palestinian citizens of Israel, the Arabs, as you called them. There was a two-tier criminal justice system. They were subjected to military court processes and not the civil court processes until 1967. After 1967, they got citizenship. There are obviously still many different social issues that pertain to the Palestinian citizens of Israel, the Arabs that are living in Israel, those who are not Jewish, of course. However, Israel currently is occupying the West Bank. There are more than 2 million
In Gaza, you could argue, no?
Palestinians that live in the West Bank. Israel's illegally occupying the West Bank. There are checkpoints. There are license plates that restrict Palestinian travel. The Israeli operations in the West Bank have destroyed Palestinian statehood. Now, of course, all of this is readily available for those who want to learn about it, yourself included. I hope you look it up. B'Tselem is an Israeli human rights organization which declared Israel to be an apartheid regime in 2021, in the April of 2021. Amnesty International declared Israel to
Okay,
be an
all right,
apartheid
Uh-oh.
regime.
Let me. Okay,
and
before
so
I
did-
move. Okay,
You know what,
before.
here's-
so
hang
did
on,
the
hang
Human
on,
Rights Watch.
hang on, hang on. Before we.
Modding. This is definitely not a moderator. Definitely not. Not that.
I just want to bring in our two British panelists here, but just finally, just to clarify, Hassan, I can't quite work out whether you said you do think October the 7th was...
Oh gosh, we're going back to the... Shouldn't we move on? Shouldn't we discuss this thing that was discussed right now? Shouldn't we, I don't know, focus on... Can we focus on one thing at a time? Like, Dave went on a whole thing, and now he's bringing it back to some other thing. Like, that's just... Mod! Come on! Moderate! Like, just... Ugh.
an unjustified act of revolution, or whether you change your mind. So can you clarify?
He answered this. Ugh. He said no. Just don't go back to that old thing. Let's move on. And ugh.
I think that violent means of maintaining an apartheid is inevitably going to yield violent retaliation.
So
this
was it
is
justified?
something that is completely avoidable.
Was it justified?
Civilian deaths are never justified.
You know what, Hassan?
Hang on,
my
Emily.
You look-
Hang on,
So that's a non-answer if there ever was one.
Emily.
You look Hirsch Goldberg, Poland's mother in the eyes. No, you look this.
Hang
That's
on,
my
Emily.
You look,
Hang on, Emily.
You look Hirsch
Emily, let me...
Goldberg, Poland's mother in the eyes. No, you look this person's mother in the eyes, and you tell him that this was justified. You tell him his arm being blown off and being held in captivity for 200 days is justified.
I do love that the Israel
false
defender
narrative,
has no
you think that
capacity to
Gaza
fucking hear
belongs
anything
to
I'm
the
saying.
Palestinians who are
What are
made
you
up
talking
identity.
about?
Well, now it's going off the rails. Let's, okay. Are we getting anything out of this?
It just, if you're not going to respect me
You
and
think
listen
that
to what
we're
I have to
occupying
say,
the West
which,
Bank.
by the way,
you
of course
think
you
we've
don't
occupied
respect.
Gaza.
Oh, if you talk
Look what
over each other,
happened.
nobody can
I'll just
hear
keep
you.
speaking
I just
over
What do you mean,
you.
I
That's what
think?
you
It's
do.
not
I just
I
want to...
think.
Okay. I mean, the West Bank and the Gaza are being sort of occupied by Israel, but that's neither here nor there. Is this going to go anywhere?
It's not I think, it's the entire
Hassan,
world knows.
No, it is you
okay?
think.
It's
Hang
the
It's
entire
only
world
things that
knows
Emily,
promote
what
please.
you're
your
doing.
narrative.
Let me handle this, Emily. Hassan, just
Jesus.
before I come to the two people who are with me here, I just need some clarity here.
Well, they've not been able to say a thing. It's been going on for a bit, but they're not being able to even say a thing. They've not been able to chime in at all. Shouldn't it be like you get a few minutes to speak, you get a few minutes to speak, you get few minutes to speak, and then everybody gets at least a few minutes to speak at first, and then they get into the, like that. This is like that. You're a very bad moderator, Piers Morgan. You're a very, very bad moderator. You're not a good moderator.
Bouncing around whether you think October the 7th
Piers,
was justified
why are
or
we
not.
doing this? Why are we doing this back and forth masturbation? I've already given you
Yeah,
my fucking
Piers, why are you
position.
doing this?
I'm
He's
sick and
happy.
tired
It's
of
Jews
repeating it
Day.
over.
Jesus Christ, what's happening here? What is this? What's happening?
and over again.
Okay,
Because
I just
it's
asked
Jews,
this.
it's okay.
Ask this
Emily, stop
demon next to
talking.
me.
Group, it's
Wearing a
Emily.
Oh boy. I have to say that the Destiny one was a bit more organized, a bit more, I don't know. I gotta say that the Destiny one was a bit more constructive in retrospect. It was, they were able to discuss things, they were able to go back and forth, they were able to, this is just a mess. Nothing's being said, nothing's really being, okay.
fucking
Come back
IDF
to you.
dog
Only
tag.
when it's Jews, it's okay.
Please
Ask
stop
this
shouting
fucking
at each
demon next
other.
to me wearing an IDF dog tag if she actually thinks Israel's actions are justifiable.
Bring them home.
Do you
it's
see
to
me
bring the
rocking the
hostages
fucking
home. The hostages
All right,
that you
you're talking
rightly
over each
believe
other.
belong in
Doesn't
the
matter. You know what
tunnels
it
of
is.
Gaza.
I'm going to...
Oh boy.
give you
why
two...
it
Yeah.
looks
I'm going to
that
let
way.
you two
That is
calm
the
down.
same
It's
side-
Again, these two have not been able to speak once. Once.
Yes,
shape
We
of an
cannot
idea,
hear
fuck that.
you
You're
when you
wearing
talk
that
over each
to
other.
Troll people.
Every time recently I have someone
Okay.
from both
I'm
sides
wearing
on,
this
like
to
it
troll
goes like
people.
this.
I'm wearing this rusty necklace.
Please,
because
can you
there are
listen to me,
200 Israeli
Emily?
civilians
Yeah,
in Gaza
All right,
right now.
can you
as
stop
hostages.
doing this to each other, please?
Emily.
Nobody
Emily,
can understand a
you
word.
condemn the
Jesus, how professional. I
Either of you saying.
Israel?
Now let me come to Esther and James here. This is one of my problems.
No, I want to
actually.
hear if Emily condemns
No,
the
no,
actions of
Hassan,
Israel.
you
Why
will
don't you ask
please
her
let me
about that?
moderate the
Why
debate.
don't you ask her about
I don't condemn
30,000
the idea.
people
I've got two
killed?
panelists here who've not had a word yet.
Because you're a
They
fucking
True. You do have two panelists that have not gonna word yet. You're not doing a very good job at moderating. I'll just tell you that. You're not doing a very good job at moderating. Do you not have the ability to mute people on this thing? On this, like, sort of... Do you not have the ability to just mute people?
Please stop
civilians from their
talking.
Like, that should be a tool at your disposal, no?
homes. And I think you're a terrorist.
There's no semblance of control. There's no semblance of control.
And I think you're a terrorist as well.
Okay, well, I'm not the one wearing.
Because
He's just. You're the moderator. You're supposed to navigate these sort of situations. Like, you're supposed to be able to navigate these situations. Like, come on. Come on.
I'm not the
the
one
You look so helpless. You look so hopeless. Like, come on. This is not a difficult situation. You mute them both. You say, okay, have you calmed down? You're muted. Have you gotten out of your system? So now we're going to the next two panelists that have not been able to say anything. Easy. Done. Boom. If streamers can do it, then why can't you? These situations have happened millions of times on panels. An easy solution. Bam! You're both muted. Nobody can hear you. You done? You done now? You gonna be calm now? Okay, we're going to the next people. Could it be that I'd be a better mod in a panel than Piers Morgan? Could that be the case? Oh gosh, that is so embarrassing for everybody involved. I mean, perhaps maybe, except for these two, because they've not been able to say anything.
Strangers are home. Don't expect the
He's just shaking his head. He's just shaking his head. He looks so helpless.
to be over.
Signia. Yeah, I know.
Bring
you don't
them
care about the
home.
hostages. If you
I
cared
love
about
how
the
you're
hostages,
condemning
you would
me.
be
You are
screaming at
exposing
Benjamin Netanyahu.
your own terrorism
Benjamin
on live
Netanyahu
television.
is-
Oh, they will be able to say anything. They will be able to. Oh God.
He's the hostage
You
killer.
are exposing. You know.
Benjamin
excuse
Netanyahu
me,
has
you
killed
should
more
condemn
hostages
Hamas.
than
What do
Hamas
I
You need
have
to
to
be
think you're
condemning
achieving
Hamas
here?
for
Talking about.
not only oppressing the Palestinian people, but for spreading terrorism. I don't see your outrage at Hamas. Israel gave Gaza
All right,
back
listen,
in
I
2005,
would like to, please.
and Hamas
You
has
don't
turned
see
this
outrage
into
at
a
Hamas.
I think
terrorist
Hamas is the
haven.
lesser
instead of
Emily and
building a
Hassan.
safe
Can you
Is the
please show
lesser
some
evil.
courtesy
Hamas
to
is
the other
lesser
panelists?
evil in comparison to
Okay, I expected something different. I expected they would actually be able to talk. I heard that this was wild, but I didn't expect it to be so pointless. I didn't expect it to be so counterproductive. I just, what are they even doing? What do the both of them hope to accomplish through this? I'm just baffled.
Israel.
Can
And
you
why is the moderator so helpless?
please stop talking, both of you, and
You
let
hear
the
me?
other two panelists have a
You want a
say?
soundbite, Pierce? I'll give you
Give
a
them some
soundbite.
courtesy. Please. Some courtesy for your co-panelists here. Now, Esther, this
You could just, whatever.
is one of the problems I have with this whole debate, is that increasingly it just descends into a screaming match between pro-Palestinian...
Yeah, and there are tools that moderators typically online have in these sort of situations that they can utilize to sort of take control of the situation. But I guess you opted not to make that a part of your arsenal as a mod.
And pro-Israelis.
And the
I'm not
biggest losers
impressed.
are the victims of this war. 33,000 dead Palestinians, over 1,500 dead Israelis. These are the biggest victims of this, because you're shouting at each other and nothing is getting, like, you're completely, forget having no courtesy for us, you're completely disrespecting actual victims of this conflict, which, by the way, didn't happen in a vacuum. And I think that's the most important thing to say about this. None of this happened in a vacuum. Of course, October the 7th was an atrocity, and it was completely unjustified. There was no justification for butchering people in the way that they did. But it didn't happen in a vacuum. A lot of the people that live in Gaza weren't even born at the time that Hamas came in power. So I really just, I despise this, you're a terrorist sympathizer, you're a genocide supporter, all of this, when really the people that we should be talking about deserve better.
Okay, James, on the wider point of these protests.
Well, I couldn't get to that part because I wanted to describe what the apartheid is, and
Okay.
Emily cut in immediately to chirp about some random shit.
Okay, you were both... abusing each other. It was very unedifying.
It was very
let
clear.
me ask James. James, on the protests.
Yeah, dude.
On the protests.
Yeah, dude.
Look, I believe in the right to protest. That's an absolute bedrock of any democracy. But I don't believe in the right to support terror groups publicly or to chant about support for Hamas.
I mean, those sort of people that support terrorism should be ousted out of the protest. I think so. Yeah.
Or to chant about intifada, which is a violent uprising. Where's the line for you with these?
I agree. I think we have to condemn what Hamas did, and I don't think the words that have been used so far have been strong enough. I mean, it was the worst thing we've seen in a very long time. It was disgusting, appalling, awful for everyone involved. I also have a lot of sympathy, if not, I can't think of a bigger word, for the people of Gaza. It's awful, and I will agree with you. I do want a free Palestine, and I also want a free and successful Israel, but I don't want...
So basically, this person's not saying anything. It's all awful. I would like it all to end well.
innocent people murdered. So yeah, you can't go to a protest and start shouting about support for Hamas. That's insane.
Isn't it ironic that something like this has become a haven for like the mentally unwell? You're talking about something as serious as a conflict in Israel and Gaza, and for some reason you have really uneducated people that are clearly 20 years ago would have been in an asylum supporting this openly, not even knowing the conflict, not even knowing the context of what they're supporting, and for some reason we even give it airtime. That's what upsets me. These people don't deserve airtime.
Right? Everyone is so triggered on both sides, on all sides, and rightly so, because a lot of terrible stuff has happened. So that's where the emotion is coming from. But really, I think we all want the same thing, and that is for innocent people to not be murdered or
This panel is horrifying. There's a bit
slain in the streets.
Right. I mean, look, Hassan.
But
hang on, Emily.
this. Wow.
Please, I'll come to you. Let me just ask Hassan. When you and Emily go at each other like you just did, nobody wins.
This is. I didn't expect this. I saw some titles of videos that said this is like the most unproductive panel ever, but I still expected something else. I still sort of suspected it to be a bit more anything at all.
I mean, no one can really understand a word you're saying because you're shouting over each other. You end up just calling each other terrorists. There's no sensible dialogue here. There's no constructive conversation. It's just two implacably opposed sides abusing each other. Do you understand that?
Yeah, listen, Piers, okay? This is going to always be a very heated discussion, okay? Having a conversation
Well, we can have a heated discussion without it devolving into nonsense. I'm sorry. You can have heated discussions as long as there's still discussions. This is not a discussion. There's no discussing happening here. That's the, In order for a heated discussion to be a discussion, it has to be first a discussion.
heated this discussion is utterly unproductive. Every single moment that we use on air, not talking about every single university building being desecrated, destroyed. The fact that we're having this conversation on the eve of hundreds of mass graves being unearthed right now in many different parts of Gaza around hospitals that Israel had laid siege to is disgusting. I agree. I came on here, as I have done last time as well, and as I will probably do in the future as well,
Hundreds of mass graves.
with one simple goal in mind, which is to address all of the misinformation that surrounds stuff like this. As far as the crackhead Barbie thing goes, yeah, she's a random TikTok influencer who gives a shit about what she has to say. She's obviously doing it for clout. But the students over at Columbia, okay, the students that I have talked to at the Columbia University Apartheid Divest group, the students that I've talked to from Jewish Voice for Peace.
All right, Emily, let me just
Wait,
ask.
he was just cut? Was this a weird edit? Well, what happened here? It was just boom. Well, what happened? What was this abrupt cut? What was
ask
that?
you the same thing.
Talked to from Jewish Voice for Peace.
What was that?
All right, Emily.
Group, the students that I've talked to from Jewish Voice for Peace.
All right, Emily.
What was that? What happened? What? What the hell? What happened here? Well, what happened between here and there? Huh?
Let me just ask you the
What
same
was-
thing I asked Hassan.
Why was that just cut?
When you guys scream at each other and call each other terrorists,
That
it
was
doesn't
awkward
obviously
as
achieve
hell.
anything other than it becomes unintelligible to the audience. You know, is there not a better
agree,
way
but
we can have this
funnily
conversation?
enough,
It was so awkward.
correct. And funnily enough, I have the same exact answer as Hassan. My job here is to make sure that I'm debunking false narratives that Hassan is clearly spewing. My job here is to call out hypocrisy. And I just saw another one where he's saying that crackhead Barney, whoever the hell that girl was, is a lunatic, but Aaron Bushnell, who lights himself on fire, is a hero. You can't pick and choose whatever fits your narrative. And I keep on repeating that over and over again because the Palestinian movement will literally just take what they can get, spew all of the truth into their false narrative, spread misinformation, and then you say that we're the liars. You tell me I'm wearing an IDF dog tag. I'm wearing a bring them home for the hostages that you. No, it says bring them home.
You're using
This
you're
says bring
using
them
the
home.
hostages as a simple political tool to make
As
propaganda
what?
in the West is quite disgusting. The protests that are
think
happening in Israel
humans
right
in
now are massive.
captivity are a
and
political
those,
tool?
And those protests,
Why?
you are using
Hassan,
humans
pause.
in
Why do
captivity
you
as a
think
political
the hostages
tool.
are
It's so obvious.
Why, Hassan? Why?
I guess you're not gonna have any sort of. Hassan says he got cut here. I mean, he did. He clearly did. I'm sorry. He did get cut here. He doesn't have to say it. I saw it. Like, he doesn't have to say he got cut here. He clearly got cut mid-sentence here. Yes. Like, that part is clear. He did get cut here.
Why are you dehumanizing?
And I
the
can just wonder what is it that he said after the.
just because I have no problem admitting the Palestinians.
I guess I'll never know what he said there.
I'm
better.
not.
I feel
You're
terrible at the
using them as a
casualties.
political
I
pawn.
can say
If
that.
you cared about
You
the hostages,
can't.
you would be
Hassan,
in Tel
not
Aviv
Hamas
right
is
now
using the
alongside.
hostages.
All right, let me bring in James. Let me bring
Leave
in James.
alone
Let me
at
bring in
home, they're
James,
not a
please.
I'm sorry that I
political
can't
pawn.
listen to
Please.
that.
Oh boy.
Let me bring in James.
I agree with both of your
Sorry,
arguments,
can you
but
please, when I say stop talking, please stop talking. We've got 4 people here.
if
James.
anyone is using hostages, surely it's Hamas, Hassan. How can you say that? How can you use that argument? That's a crazy thing to say. It's Hamas
What do you
that
mean, how can I
have
use that
taken
argument?
these
There are
people from their
currently
homes,
tens of thousands of people in
murdered their
Israel.
relatives.
There are currently tens of thousands of Israeli citizens right now in the streets of Israel, in the streets of Tel Aviv, outside of Benjamin Netanyahu's house, protesting every single day. What are they protesting? They're protesting for Benjamin Netanyahu to facilitate a ceasefire with Hamas so that they can actually bring the hostages home. That is precisely the
But
number one
who
goal
here
of
is
the
using
family
the
members of the
hostages?
hostages.
Who
And
is
if
using the
anyone on
hostages?
this panel was
No,
being
answer
even a
that
little bit
question.
honest,
You
they would
changed-
recognize
You're not
the
listening to
reality
my
that,
question.
listen, just listen.
You didn't listen to my question.
Listen to what I'm saying,
Looks so angry.
and you will understand perhaps what I'm trying to
That's
imply
very
here.
patronizing.
Utilizing the hostage
Jesus.
hostages. Yeah, I am being patronizing. I don't know who the fuck you are, and you're over here.
Oh. Oh my god. Oh.
Chirping all the way from fucking
Chirping.
London about Palestine and doing a both sides are fucking fine type bullshit. Where,
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. No, that's what I call a productive conversation on the topic. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Palestine.
you're talking about how you want to fucking free Palestine, but also simultaneously, both sides got a lot going on. Shut the fuck up. You don't know anything.
Oh gosh.
Okay? I don't
literally
give a
didn't
shit
say
about
that.
what your
I said,
perspective is.
I agree.
Oh my god. Oh. Oof.
Hassan doesn't
quite a
like
lot
what
of
you
the
have
things
to
you're saying,
say, so
Hassan.
you're wrong. It's Hassan's way or the highway.
I mean, you
Wow,
are. You
really
are. There is no
clever you
both sides
are.
on a genocide.
I mean, that is often the case. It's Hassan's way or the highway, but that's neither here nor there. It's either Hassan's way or you're a psychopathic pervert, I guess.
Is there a
Really
both sides of a
clever.
genocide? There is no both
Well,
sides.
the thing is,
Is
it's
there?
interesting you
There
should
is-
mention the
there is-
hostages.
there
What
is
is
no
in the
both
Hamas
sides
charter?
and
They want
apartheid.
a Jewish genocide, but that's okay. But a
the
Jewish
thing is,
genocide is okay.
if you're talking about the well-being of the
Hamas
if you're talking about the well-being of the hostages, what sense did it make for the IDF to flatten about 70% of Gaza? Because I completely agree.
Thank
Bring the
you.
hostages home. If you look at Gaza, the topography of Gaza right now, it looks like a pancake. So I'm sorry, this whole argument of Hamas using them as human tools, fine, but the IDF has also
I'd
been
like
using
to
it
fact
to
check
continue
that
that
because that's
campaign.
just simply
If
not
you
true.
if you were told that if God
Sorry, what?
the IDF has also
I'd
been
like
using
to
it
fact
to
check
continue
that
that
because that's
campaign.
just simply
If
not
you
true.
fine, but
She needs to fact check Gaza being destroyed. She needs to fact check that because that's simply not true. Oh, okay. So yeah, okay. Okay, lady.
the IDF has also
I'd
been
like
using
to
it
fact
to
check
continue
that
that
because that's
campaign.
just simply
If
not
you
true.
if you were told
Mm-hmm. That's just simply not true. Interesting. That is.
that if God forbid if your relative was one of the hostages and you saw what's happening right now, and I met someone whose mother is a hostage, and he said he didn't want his mother and her being taken to be used in the name of violence. Right now he's sitting at home wondering, okay, what is the logic of trying to bring my mother home when you flattened Gaza? Please explain that to us.
Okay. Is she gonna say that that's not true? That Gaza is being bombed to.
So, can I
Because
pose
you
a
might
question
very
to
well pull
Everyone
those
seems to
hostages from
criticize
under the
Okay,
this.
let Emily respond to that.
Everyone wants to criticize the IDF's response, but nobody wants to tell me what should Israel be doing to retaliate October 7th, eradicate Hamas from preventing another October 7th, and bring the hostages
I have
home.
an idea.
Do you have a solution?
I have an idea. Yeah, I have an idea. Do not flatten Gaza and potentially pull your own hostages up from under the rubble, like have been done with thousands of Palestinians. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Have you found any of
What was that? What was that? What was that? Oh my god. Jesus. That brings me back. I feel like I'm back. I really don't like the Zionist woman. That's she's something else.
So you're
under the
saying that you
rubble?
don't have an answer.
That is the
So
answer.
you
Don't
have
kill
an
your own
answer.
hostages.
But you're quick
That's
to
an
condemn the
answer.
idea.
That is an answer. Yeah, don't kill your own hostages. That is true. That is true. That is a good solution. Not killing your own hostages. Yeah.
But you
does that
don't have an
sound?
answer.
I also
How
have
about
an
not killing the
answer.
hostages?
Very interesting.
I have an answer.
Thank you
Okay.
for proving my point.
It's called the
correct. Yes,
dissolution
Hassan.
of the apartheid regime. That's what it's called. Dissolve the apartheid
So
regime.
what would you like to
allow
see happen,
Palestinians
Hassan?
breathing room. Do you not understand the English language?
We're
Dissolve
delayed.
the
It's delayed.
apartheid regime.
You need a Xanax. First of all, you need a Xanax. Okay, so should Israel do
Yeah, I'm
to the
sorry.
West Bank
30,000
what they did to
Palestinians
Gaza?
have been ruthlessly slaughtered by the
Should
Israeli
Israel
state.
give
It makes
back
me a
the
little
land so
upset
that it can
when
turn
someone is
into another
defending that.
Gaza? Is that what you'd like to see? Another terrorist haven launching rockets all day instead of turning it to Singapore? Because that's what they did in 2005.
Wait, hold
We
on.
see
Which
how that
one is
worked.
Singapore?
The
The West
billions of
Bank?
dollars in
Hold on,
aid
is
they
the
turned
West
into
Bank
building
Singapore?
Jesus.
tunnels. Is that what you'd like to
Who's
see?
bombing?
I don't know.
Who's
Have I
bombing
gone
Singapore
deaf?
every day?
Sorry,
What,
Emily, is the
Singapore
West
an
Bank
open-air
supposed to be
prison?
Singapore?
What are you talking about?
Is the West Bank supposed to
The
be
West
Singapore?
Bank received. The West Bank has a port. They can import and export. Israel gave them a great piece of land. They received billions of dollars in aid, not only from
Israel
the
gave
U.S.
them a great
but
piece of
Israel
land?
gave. Are you
No.
mad? They had a chance to rebuild, but they spent the last 15 plus years crying
Oh, wow.
that they don't have
Okay.
enough
The
land
West Bank
because there
is
is never
Singapore.
enough land for them instead of rebuilding. But that's okay. Okay, build terrorist tunnels. Don't build hotels and don't rebuild
Israel
civilization.
has
Just build
not
terrorist
allowed
tunnels to keep hostages
Palestinians
in.
to have a nation state that they deserve by international law since the inception of the Israeli nation state. What you are saying is insane to me. The fact that you brought up the last 15 years as Palestinians crying is disgusting.
Oh, I have
okay?
one more question.
You are a disgusting little monster
one more question.
who thinks
One more
that
question.
not offering contiguity to the Palestinians in the form of a state, which is under international law, is just simply
Wait, I have
Palestinians
one
crying.
question.
Okay?
This
Problem is
West
Palestinians
Bank
don't want a
Singapore.
two-state
Hold on.
solution.
This
they want
West
a
Bank
one-state
Singapore.
solution that eradicates the Israelis, which is not an option.
Fine. This West Bank
You're wrong.
Singapore, what place
You're wrong.
does the settlements play in that? How? Please paint a picture of how the West Bank of Singapore or whatever, Singapore of the West Bank.
West Bank of Singapore. Jesus. West Bank of Singapore.
How does this illegal settlements fit
Ma'am,
into that?
I think you're completely missing. You're missing the picture.
Just explain to me
Israel
how the
wanted to
settlements
give
fit into
them
that picture.
A piece of land. I'm
How-
explaining it.
Okay, I'm
The
listening.
picture is they got a great piece of land to turn into society. Instead
Who
of turning
got
it
the
into
land?
civilized society,
Who did?
Israel gave the land to Gaza. They
So then why
withdrew.
the
They
Israeli
removed
settlers?
It's
Israelis
not Israel's
from their
land to
homes.
give.
But
It's
then
not
why
Israel's
would
land to
Israeli
give.
settlers
It is
then?
not Israel's land to
2005.
give.
There are no Jews or Israelis. There are no settlements in Gaza.
In the West
they
Bank.
gave it to
in the West
the
Bank. They're not in the
Palestinians.
West
Are
Bank.
still being cut off by Israel, so it's totally dependent on Israel. It's not independent. Gaza is not independent, so.
I'm speaking about Gaza, and
Oh,
now
I'm
you're
asking
changing
about
the
West
narrative.
Bank because I was interested
I'm
in knowing about
showing you.
Singapore.
I'm telling you that if
Palestinians-
Israel pulls out completely from the West Bank,
This person just has nothing to say. He just looks flabbergasted.
if I'm speaking, if Israel pulls out,
What is this person's role here? They just said, "Oh, it's all tragic and bad, and it's sad, really, all that's happening." But it's like, what is this person's contribution?
from the West Bank, you can bet your ass it turns into the next Gaza. The world does not need two Gazas because one Gaza has already caused enough damage. If, however,
Yes.
Gaza decides to demand
Every
that
argument with
Hamas
Israel
removes
is
themselves
about
from
some
power,
hypothetical.
and they
It's-
Gaza has. Wait, so did Hamas do the damage or did Gaza as a whole do the damage? Which is it? Like because the language of Gaza did enough damage. Actually, believe it or not, is the language of justifying punishing the entirety of Gaza. Just so you Just so you catch that. I'm smart, so I caught it. Gaza has done enough damage. It's not Hamas has done enough damage. It's Gaza has done enough damage. See? It's like, I caught it. You might have not caught it, but I caught it. I got it.
Can have democracy.
Israel has to do a
then yes,
genocide
there's
because if
potential
Israel
for a
doesn't do a
two-state
genocide,
solution.
then the Gaza
There's
It
no
sounds a bit
genocide.
like
The
you're
only
victim
genocide
blaming
is the
Palestinians
Hamas
in
charter that
Gaza.
wants
You
to
cannot
eradicate the
do
Jews.
defensive genocide.
You know, it's interesting the
cannot
word
do defensive
genocide
genocide.
because
Genocide.
hang on, it's
There is
interesting the
no
word. It's interesting.
genocide
Hang
happening.
on.
What is this person talking about?
It's a
Israel is
buzzword.
doing
I would love to get a
genocide.
word in,
Loud.
please. Interesting the word genocide because I've listened to all this fractious debate, everyone talking over each other. The truth is that actually only one side is publicly said that they wish to pursue a genocide, and that is Hamas. Hamas, after October the 7th, through their official spokesman on camera, said they wanted to do it again and again and again. That is the purest articulation
It's almost like she thinks every Gaza citizen is Hamas.
of a genocide imaginable. And the one thing I never hear from the pro-Palestinian side
You
is
really think-
what Israel was
Piers,
actually...
Piers,
Hang on.
Piers,
No, don't
Piers.
interrupt me.
So one
I haven't
Hamas
asked you a
official,
question yet.
One Hamas guy.
Sorry, I
But
need to
that's
ask you a
ridiculous.
question.
You're being a ridiculous person.
I'm not
You're
being a
being a
ridiculous
ridiculous
Is he gonna get kicked of this little thing? He's gonna get kicked.
person.
I'm just saying, nobody ever
Because
tells
how
me...
many Israeli officials, even on your show, have said we should keep doing what we have been doing to Gaza over and over again? How does that not register in the same genocidal intent? If you think what that dude was saying, which was, by the way, ridiculous what he was saying, the Hamas official was saying, is that we're going to do October 7th
Yeah,
over and over again.
but he said it.
We are justified in doing it over and over again. Yes, I find that to be abhorrent. However, what you fail to recognize is that's the genocidal intent, but not Amalek. That's the genocidal intent, but not saying we are fighting human.
Hey Lucy, I have to go do some work and such. I was nice watching. I'll be next stream. Have a good one. Thank you. I have to take my HRT soon as well.
Animals, and that's why we have to cut off their food, their water, and their electricity. That was Defense Minister Yoav Gallant
There
who
we
said
go with
that.
the lies
Benjamin
again.
Netanyahu
You're saying
has
Israel
routinely
cuts
talked
off their
about this over and over
electricity.
again.
They don't even
Israeli
provide
interior
their
security-
electricity. You're
Israeli-
saying they cut off their water. They don't
Israeli
cut off their water.
politicians.
You are
Israeli-
spewing lies on
Can
national
you stop?
television.
Can you? I'm
They
talking
think-
provide
I think
them
so.
with
Hang
water.
on.
No, because
It's not
I'm not,
about you.
I'm not
Again,
gonna
you're
stop.
talking
I'm not gonna
over
let you
each
spew
other.
lies.
Some of
I'm
the
sorry,
some
name
of the
me another
comments.
This person's not a very good moderator now.
army that
There's no
provides
doubt,
aid
Emily,
to people they're at war with.
some of the
Only
comments-
Israel.
some of the-
Israel is
No, Pierce,
All
I'm not
right.
letting him
the
spew
most
misinformation.
caring
I'm not letting
country
him
on the
It's
fucking
pointless.
planet.
blatant
I swear
lies
to
on
God.
television.
Start it again.
This is pointless. We get
It's over. It's so over. The panel is over. It's just because the moderator cannot moderate. I'm gonna be honest. It's just this is a case of a moderator not being able to moderate.
getting
No,
nowhere.
because
But
he's
thank
Yeah,
you.
spewing
did Yoav Gallant
misinformation.
not say that?
Israel's cutting off electricity,
Okay.
water, and aid. Just
We're getting-
spew-
Just moderate. Just try moderating.
Defense
lies. I'm
Minister
not gonna let
Yoav
you do
Gallant say we are fighting human animals or not? Answer that question. Did Defense Minister Yoav
Yes,
Gallant
yes,
say
yes.
we are
Hamas
fighting
is
human
human
animals and we have to cut
animals.
off their
Hamas-
electricity,
correct.
cut off their food, cut off
Correct.
their water?
Okay.
Yeah, the slight
You know
that
what?
Israel,
I'm going to cut
Israel
off. I'm
provides
going to cut off this
79%
debate.
of their electricity. The rest is Hamas.
I'm going to cut off the
That's
debate
not
because
Israel.
we're getting
Israel
absolutely
provides-
nowhere. But I
Okay.
appreciate everybody joining me. Thank you.
Okay. That was streamer panel hosts do a better job moderating. I swear.
Thank you very much indeed.
You're shaking your head, but you just didn't do your job. You didn't do your job of moderating. That's on you. I'm sorry, that's on you. Well, whatever. No, wait, that just happened.